Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Inspired Lady podcast. Thank you so much for joining us this week as we dive into nourishment and kind of relearning some of the things that I feel like have maybe been ingrained in us since we were younger. And anyways, if you don't know me, my name is Belle. I'll be your host, and I'm just so excited for this episode because it's very, very personal to me right now. And we're going to dive into a couple life updates, but we also are going to obviously get to the tips and tangible steps for living our best life. So without further ado, let's jump in. So today I'm drinking electrolytes, one of my favorite ones. The brand is called Good On Ya. Very simple. It's all one word, Good On Ya. And I love these electrolytes because they don't have a lot of added sugar. Like Liquid IV has added sugar, same with Drip Drop. And, you know, it just gets really sweet, all of that. And these are just so subtle, a subtle lemon flavor. So I'm kind of obsessed with them. And that's what we're drinking. I felt like it really went along with today's episode, all about nutrition and supplements and just kind of prepping your week so that way you're prepared to be nourished throughout to the best of your ability and all the things. But this is coming at a really good time. I wanted to have this episode for a while, but the reason why we're doing it earlier probably than I was prepared for originally was because I recently went to the doctor and I got a blood panel done. So if you don't know, a lot of insurance companies will allow you to get one blood panel done per year for free with your doctor. Okay. So I wanted to get this done because I got off a bunch of medications and just wanted to kind of do a check-in on what I was doing. The doctor also wanted to make sure that my body was functioning without medicine that's been on for years and years and years. So I was super excited to get this blood panel done and went in to do the review, and they wouldn't let me do the review over the phone. They weren't going to just tell me. So I was like, that's fine. So I go in to the appointment, and there were some really shocking things that came forward in the blood panel. So I was like, okay, wow, this is crazy. So the first crazy thing to me was the fact that I was so low in vitamin D, psycho low. So I have to start taking a vitamin D supplement right now, which is fine because I do take a lot of other vitamins, but I actually had to up my vitamin D supplementation because it was still too low. So that was something, just looking at all the vitamin levels, my thyroid, all of that. The other big thing that was super concerning was the fact that my sugar, my insulin levels. Okay. So, diabetes runs in my family. It's genetic, all of that. So type 1. And looking at everything, I actually am pre-diabetic. So it's insulin resistant. And it was crazy to look at because I never would have guessed that. And we went over a bunch of things on how to fix that. And I love my doctor so much. And this is just a word of wisdom. Okay. So if you go to a doctor that is, in the medical Western medicine world, that's great. I went to them pretty much my entire life, and their first response is usually to diagnose something maybe, but definitely put you on a medication. Medication is always the first response. And while that is a Band-Aid and it can cover symptoms, it doesn't actually usually help with the root of the problem and help you actually heal from it. It's just going to keep on covering it up until the issue either becomes too big to deal with or you never have to really notice the issue again, unless it takes a different form. So it's not always the best. I'm not so crunchy out there, right? Where I'm absolutely not, I won't go to a doctor or anything like that. And so I wanted to start researching a doctor for me that would maybe just not want to put me on a bunch of medication. That wouldn't be their first answer, and really work from things from the root up instead of just putting a Band-Aid on things. So I ended up finding a holistic functional medicine doctor. I find that word right there, functional medicine, is just so crucial when you're looking for a medical professional and you're not looking for medications. It's just huge. And don't get me wrong, I am on one medication still. So my doctor right now, she's not afraid of medication. It's just not her first response. And she also gives me all of the options. She'll say, okay, we can do this, 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 and this, or this, this, and this. And having all the options laid out is just so helpful. And she's also so amazing because she listens to me in a way that I just haven't been listened to before. So anyways, I highly suggest you shop around for your doctors. Functional medicine has just been the true like keywords that I've loved. It's not like crystals or acupuncture and all of that stuff, but it is a little bit more focused on, okay, how can we fix this through what you're eating, how you're sleeping, how you're moving, all of that before anything else. So all that being said, my functional doctor helped me with this blood lab, and insulin resistant, vitamin D was super low. There was another thing on there. My cholesterol was a little high, which is so funny, but again, very genetic for me. My entire family is super high cholesterol. So I was like, okay, that just means that I need to be taking steps in order to kind of prevent these from growing into bigger issues at some point soon. And again, the doctor was like, let's not do medications for all this. I can prescribe you medications for all these issues and you won't even know what happened. But I would rather let's get to the root and form some new habits that will help you in the long run with this. Okay. So that's what we're doing. We are forming new habits, creating new routines to try to help with some of these genetic issues that I know I'm going to deal with more in the future. So if you know there's genetic issues in your family, if you are aware that something could potentially come up for you, like let's say it's, skin cancer. Your family has a history of skin cancer. It's not necessarily a food thing, but that means you can be taking extra liberties with sunscreen and being super diligent with that. And same goes with diabetes, heart disease, all of that. Just being really diligent and knowing what your genes are, what your blood type is, and being able to kind of work around that a little bit and start to take active steps to making it better. Okay. So I'm all about this. I'm all about that whole holistic approach. Okay. So for me specifically, what I need to watch are sugar and carbs, because those are what make your insulin levels spike when you're digesting the food. And then I also need to do better at having healthier fats and protein. So if you know me at all, I am the person who will sit down with a giant bowl of pasta and pretty much call that a meal, and like nothing else, like literally just noodles and a sauce. And that's actually probably my favorite meal of all time, is just noodles and sauce. And that is not really going to cut it anymore. And for a while, it broke my heart. Same with like the high sugar. I love like a good sweet drink, probably multiple times a day. And that also is not really going to cut it anymore. So just really trying to figure out what pain points in my day were starting to lead to some of these issues and how can I make them better. Okay. So if I am going to have a carb, that's fine, but I need to be pairing it with a healthy fat and a protein. Okay. So a healthy fat, meaning olive oil, almonds, avocados, salmon, something like that, where it's high in that healthier fat, and then hopefully also have some sort of protein with it. And coming up with these meals was a little challenging in the beginning. It was honestly disheartening too, because that's pretty much all of my favorites that felt like they were being taken away from me, but they weren't being taken away. You know what I mean? They really weren't. It was just an adjustment that I need to make. So I am on 3 weeks, maybe a little longer, of kind of this new updated diet. And when I say the word diet, I mean simply what I'm eating, not like there's a specific diet that I'm following. Okay. The word diet is just so freaking annoying to me. And even when I was discussing with my doctor, she was like, we're not going to talk about the foods you can't eat. We're not going to talk about the bowl of pasta you're going to have to miss out on, or all of that. Like, let's not even discuss that. That's not a part of this diet, in quotes. What we're going to do instead is start filling your diet up with better foods. So that way you're at the point where you're not even missing all of the old foods that aren't actually serving you. And just having her approach with that. And she even said, like, with your history with eating disorders, I just want to like really approach this from such a mindful standpoint, where we're doing mindfulness eating. Okay. So that means I'm not putting things in my body without thinking about it. I'm not just reaching over and grabbing the first thing I see or ordering whatever sounds best off of a menu, but I'm being really just mindful, intentional thinking about what I'm about to put in my body. Is this something that God made or man made? That is one of my favorite things. I believe Molly Mason last year when she was on the podcast talked about this is it something God made or is it something man made? So is it a high processed food that went through factories and was shipped all over? Or was it something that came from the ground and that God cultivated even through man's hands? Absolutely. But is it something that could have been found in the garden of Eden? Okay. And I love that analogy so much. It's really helped me with the mindfulness. So whenever I go to eat something, I can kind of pause and ask myself that question and kind of work through what exactly the food is that I'm putting in my body and how is this going to energize me. That is the entire point of food, is to have energy. It's honestly really not that much for our pleasure, like as weird of a word that might be to use here. It's really not for that. It's to add energy to our days. And it's been abused and manipulated to get to this point where it's honestly more hurtful in some ways than it has to be. So, all that being said, I'm just really focused on when something's in front of me or when it's mealtime, trying to get a healthy fat, putting olive oil on it, adding some nuts, adding some salmon, whatever, and a protein with it, and then carbs kind of here and there. So carbs are obviously so important for your brain to function. And I freaking love my brain. I can't imagine what I would do if my brain stopped functioning. It's honestly probably one of the scariest things to me. So I want my brain to function at a high rate, but I don't necessarily need a ton of carbs at every meal like I was consuming before, which is leading to some of these health issues. So I also feel like it's easier to eat healthier at a restaurant. Okay, hear me out. Most people are like, oh my gosh, it's so hard when you go on vacation or when you're eating out to eat healthy. And for me, I honestly feel like I'm the complete opposite. When I'm eating out, it is so much easier for me to pick something healthier off the menu and not have to cook it or buy the ingredients for it versus when we're at home and it's like all of the foods are presented in front of me, or I'm in charge of cooking it now, or I'm in charge of trying to prepare and plan a meal that has to be healthy. And that's so much more overwhelming to me. Like I would rather eat out at a restaurant and not have to deal with the preparation and planning of a meal, especially when it's healthy, because things go bad so quickly and then you're not eating everything and then you bought something but you didn't use it fast enough. That is stressful. That is so freaking stressful. But I'm starting to really come up with a plan. Okay. So what I did is I sat down with my husband and we kind of came up with like a basic meal plan. We eat most of our meals apart. We don't eat them together just because of work schedules and all of that. So we kind of do our own thing for meals, which I'll be straight with you, kind of works out in my favor because we don't like the same food at all. Like at all. Like if he likes it, I probably don't, and vice versa. So it's okay. So I have to kind of plan out these meals that are for the most part just for me. And it's a challenge, but once you kind of have a basic plan in place, it's really helpful. So we have these magnets. They're on my Amazon storefront, but they're these magnet planners. We have one that plans out the month and then one that plans out the week. And the week one we use for meals. So I will write down all of my basic meal ideas for every single day. So there are certain days, there's one day a week I'm allowed to have pasta with ground turkey on it, one day. And it's whole wheat pasta, but it's my favorite day. And then there's like taco salad days, salmon with cauliflower rice days, all of these days, okay? And I will have this written out as well as a bunch of snack options, easy snack options like apples with peanut butter, peaches with cottage cheese, a little bit of sugar, maybe a little bit more of not quite like the protein, like super high in protein, but still healthier options for snacks that I really do enjoy. And I'll write these down so that way, if ever I'm hungry and I don't know what to do, will look at this list and it'll be like, oh, okay, so a stick of cheese with almonds. Great, perfect. And kind of just cultivating this whole list of things. And it has been so helpful, guys. So helpful to have a basic plan in place that doesn't really change a whole lot each week. I have on Thursdays right now to try a new recipe, but even that, you know what I mean? It's just one meal a week that I'm kind of adjusting, cultivating each week, but everything else is pretty much planned. Everything else is pretty much set in stone. I know what to expect in those meals, and so there's not a lot of room to screw it up, I guess. And so off of our meal plans then, both of us, I will then go in and I have a standardized grocery list, okay? If you know me, you know I hate grocery shopping with literally every single ounce of my being. It is my least favorite thing in the entire world. It's exhausting. I hate grocery shopping. But what's really nice about this is I have a standardized list and I keep this on my phone because I prefer written out lists for grocery shopping so I can mark it off. But I don't always have my list with me. So having my phone ready to go, I can mark things off super easily, which is so helpful. And I can also add to things or look for recipes right on my phone. So I have a note on my phone, grocery list, and I have repeating tasks that pop up on it. So every single week I make sure, do we have at least a dozen eggs? We're really big egg people. We love to eat eggs, all of that. So I want to make sure we have at least a dozen eggs in our house. Okay, great. And so same with beef, sourdough bread, all of these things, right? And so all this is going to keep popping up, everything that I need for these standard meals. And then at the bottom, I'll have a section that says new recipe or random foods that we just ran out of, like red pepper flakes. I barely need those, But when I do need them, I need to make sure they're on the list, right? So then I have this like randomized section on the bottom, which I can mark things off and they disappear. So this list on my phone helps me stay organized a lot because every week I just go through and uncheck all the things that I need and then go through and recheck them all as I get them at the grocery store. And it's a lot less like, I don't know, guessing at the grocery store, guessing of what meals I'm going to want, what food I'm going to want, all of that. And you can adjust this as you go. So quarterly, I go through this list. We started this last October, maybe September, and I will quarterly go through the list then and kind of adjust the meals, make sure there's still foods that I like. I'm not, totally done with one certain meal, and update it so that way it's foods that I'm still enjoying. Okay. And that's just been super, super helpful, keeping me very on task. Okay. So let's talk about some of the teeny tiny like habits and tips that you can actually start working towards today. Okay. So first of all, the vitamins. I will preach vitamins till the day I die. I'm a big, big vitamin girly. I specifically really appreciate Care of. That is the vitamins that I use. So why I love them is because you take a whole quiz when you go to sign up. And if you want the quiz, it's linked obviously in the show notes and all over my Instagram. And you take the quiz, and what happens then is that you fill out like all of the things that you want to work for in your health, like brain health, sleeping, skincare, all just whatever it is. Okay. And all the things that are goals for you, they work through what goals you want. And then they tell you exactly what vitamin you should be using and the supplement amount. Okay. So I have iron on there. I have a probiotic on there. I have vitamin C, vitamin D, obviously, and a fish oil. So then what they do is they pre-package each of the little vitamins up and ship you out in month supply. So every day you pull out one little package and all of your vitamins are already in there ready to go. And there's no mess, no chaos. You're not trying to, have those giant like bottles with the little like kid protector caps that you have to like press down on and open. You don't have all of those. It's just one little packet. So easy to travel with. Honestly, it's such a game changer for me personally because I actually remember to take my vitamins. I just have them on my nightstand in the drawer, and every night before I go to bed, I'll pull one out and take my vitamins. That is such an easy way to start nourishing your body and allowing your body to get the ingredients it needs to succeed. Okay, quite literally. Like that is such a great way. A few of the other supplements that I take daily, if not weekly, okay? Big on protein powder. I love protein powder so much. I wasn't a huge protein powder girl in the beginning and for a really long time because I don't know. I feel like protein has such a weird vibe about it. Probably because all the gym boys talked about it so much and I'm like, ugh, I get the ick. I get the ick thinking about protein. Let's be honest. But it does so much for your brain. It does so much for your health, all of the things. So I was like, okay, obviously we need to take protein more seriously. And I've been doing that now for probably 6 months maybe. And I have noticed such a difference. I feel so much more energized. I feel stronger. It's a good thing. It really is. So I do a protein shake every single day. Like literally every single day I'll do a protein shake. Right now we use BPN, which is Bare Performance Nutrition, I believe, BPN. It's by Nick Bare. Matt's the one who got me into that. I love this protein. I really do. I will sometimes switch back to Gainful. They're a really great company and they have little individual flavor packets. So you take a scoop of protein and a little bit of the flavor packet that they have, and you can change the flavor of the protein, but it's still one package. Like you're not getting a whole new protein packet. So those are really good. I really like the Nick Bare one though, because it doesn't taste chalky, which I notice a lot of other proteins can taste chalky. So you're not really dealing with that. So I love that one so much. Next, I love the greens. Greens are probably a staple. I would say maybe 3 to 4 times a week. I don't do them every day. Probably about 3 to 4 times a week because I do have my vitamins. And then I also usually do salads now since I'm updating my actual like diet plan. So I will do greens. I like Memory a lot. Obviously, we do have a discount code if you want. It's just code Belle. I think you get like 10% off, maybe 20. And that one's really, really good. The other one that Matt uses, I believe it's also from Gainful and Possibility. Okay, so those are just some options for greens. Really, you can't go wrong. I have tried AG1 before. I've liked it. I have enough collaborations with other amazing greens companies that I choose to focus on that and on those. And then I also obviously love my electrolytes like I'm drinking right now. So again, liquid IV and drip drop, all amazing. And they're easy to get access to, where if you're looking for something with less sugar in it, I love Good On Ya. One word, Good On Ya. These are just really great electrolytes, very low sugar, and taste like maybe just a hint of lemon in your water instead of like a full brand new drink. So those are really good electrolyte options that I love. And ultimately, I will drink probably 3 to 4 Stanleyfuls of water a day. And then I try to have a hot lemon water at the end. Sometimes with honey, sometimes not. It depends. But buying 1 lemon a week and then cutting it up at the beginning of the week and just dropping in lemons in my water, just, I don't know, it changes it up enough where it doesn't feel redundant and kind of old to me by the time it's a new week. And it just adds just enough to my water that I love. And then similarly with the drinks, I've been switching mostly to matcha and obviously decaf espresso when I do that, or decaf coffee. It helps a lot with anxiety. One of the symptoms to the insulin resistance and all the things that I've got going on with my blood is insomnia and anxiety. So the worst thing I can do is feed myself a bunch of caffeine. So really, really focused on that caffeine level of just lowering that and replacing it with water, but where I can, doing like a sugar-free vanilla matcha. That's been my go-to order. Pretty much all of the coffee shops I go to right now is going to be a sugar-free matcha, hot or iced, just in order to still watch my sugar and that caffeine level at the same time. So I highly encourage you to get your blood work done if you can, but if you can't, just talk to your family, see what kind of runs in your family, see what's going on, and take steps that you can now that are small and easy, so that way you can be proactive in your life and not have these issues pop up from the way that you're nourishing your body. And a big part of that is jumping on the protein bandwagon, and also the same with vitamins, just allowing vitamins to be a part of your daily routine again. I feel like as children, a lot of us took vitamins and then we just like stopped. And let's get back on that, because there's a reason for them. They're really, really good for you. And as much as you may not be growing anymore, your body still is functioning at a higher rate than it definitely used to. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that just walking through some of these nourishment things, some of these, mindsets around diet and mindfulness eating and all of that, this was just so beneficial of kind of working through some of those tips, tricks, especially for the grocery store. I don't know why. That one just always hits different. It always hits different. So anyways, I love you like crazy. And the life update that I just brushed right over and didn't tell you is we're fostering. So as I'm recording this, the kiddos are coming this evening, so they'll probably be here whenever this goes live. And yeah, I'm really excited. We got 2 kiddos coming, and it's kind of a whirlwind. It's kind of wild. So I'm going to go keep prepping for that now. Okay. All right. I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.